Good morning, everybody. We've got a mixed trade in the grain markets here early on Monday morning. It is 6:27 a.m. Central Time. December corn futures down 2.5 cents at 3.62 3/4. November soybeans are up 1 at 10.03 1/2. December Chicago wheat down 3 3/4 at 5.40 1/2. December Kansas City wheat down 3.5 cents at 4.71 3/4. December spring wheat down 2.5 at 5.27 1/4. We did have some rain move across the Corn Belt over the weekend and into this morning. Some areas of the plains, including, say, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, up to about half an inch of rain over the last 72 hours. You did have some other areas with slightly heavier amounts, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and parts of Illinois, up to 1 inch of rain in some areas locally. This rain was kind of in the forecast. We knew that there would be a little bit here. The 7-day forecast still looks mostly dry, and even beyond that appears to be mostly dry. Traders are expecting U.S. corn harvest, I believe, 15 to 20% complete this afternoon. Soybean harvest expected to be 15 to 17% complete. Funded traders remain very heavily long the soybean market. CFTC released its weekly commitment of traders report on Friday, so this data is accurate as of the 22nd, which is last Tuesday. In that week, ending last Tuesday, funds were net buyers of 22,000 contracts of soybeans. That put them long 211,000 contracts at Tuesday's close. That's the largest net long in the soybean market for the funds since September 2012, and really it's basically about the second biggest net long on record. I mean, there were a few weeks in 2012 when they were bigger than this, but in terms of like events or time frames, this would be essentially the second time they've had this sort of length here. Private groups estimated funds to be net long 194,000 contracts of beans at Friday's close after some late week selling. Funds were net buyers of 36,000 contracts of corn on the week. The net long of 82,000 contracts in corn as of last Tuesday is the largest since July of 2019. This is something that a lot of people probably thought would never happen this year at all, given the circumstances. But they probably sold some of that last week. Private groups estimating funds to be net long 67,000 contracts of corn at Friday's close. Funds were light net sellers of SRW wheat last week. They were about flat that market in net at Friday's close. Port workers in Argentina will go on strike. There were some failed negotiations between a labor union and some business groups over the weekend, so one of the unions will stage a 24-hour strike. This happens once or twice just about every year. It does have the ability to impact the movement of grain, I suppose, over the short term in some cases. Global wheat prices are drifting lower. We had a grind higher in wheat prices, global wheat export prices at least, that lasted the better part of a month. And Russian wheat prices fell last week, and everything else has kind of followed suit. And that's part of the reason why you've seen this U.S. wheat market soften up a little bit, I think. They've still got some dry weather in parts of Russia and the Ukraine, which is maybe a supportive factor. We've got a USDA report this week. This is the quarterly grain stocks report. It'll be out on Wednesday. I'll talk a little bit more about some pre-report estimates and that sort of thing tomorrow and also on Wednesday. But this report does have the potential to be a market mover, certainly. So the corn market has backed off. December futures topped at 379 a couple weeks ago. We're about 16 cents below that here today. That 346 chart gap on the December corn chart really sticks out as a potential downside target here if this correction were to continue. When you look at the big picture scenario in corn, you do not have a friendly situation here. According to last month's USDA report, the stocks-to-use ratio this year is going to rise to 17%. That would be the highest level since 2005 if realized. So I believe there are a lot of traders and analysts out there who would argue that a 362 spot month corn price at harvest, given a 17% stocks-to-use ratio or the prospect of it, is probably too high given the circumstances. Still, a lot of time for the balance sheets to move around. It's a fluid situation as always. Soybean market back above $10 in November futures here this morning. Fund traders appear to be defending a fairly hefty net long position. Strong export sales continue. Again, best commitments on record for the year. Make no mistake, though, when China can start buying beans from Brazil at lower prices, I believe that they will. When does that start happening? That's a good question. It'll be a couple months out at least. Brazilian farmers have just begun planting in some areas. Acreage there should be record high. Wheat market again has backed off. You got lower global prices and also lower row crop prices, which I think have been kind of a supportive factor. We had a cattle on feed report on Friday. I'd say maybe it's a hair bearish. Cattle on feed at 104, which was basically on par with expectations. The placements number came in at 109. The trade expected 106, so that's maybe got a slightly bearish tone to it. Marketing's pretty much on par with expectations, so we'll see what develops there. Sharply higher trade in the stock market here this morning. The Dow Jones is up 360 points ahead of the cash open. The S&P is up 43. We've got the U.S. dollar sharply lower. Crude oil is up 17 cents at 40.42 in the November WTI. Gold and silver just a little bit lower. If you'd like some more information, visit my website, www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan. If you would like to know what I'm doing regarding grain marketing, corn, soybeans, and wheat throughout the year, it's broken down by percentage, by crop year. It's very specific. It's tracked every day. Sign up for that service, $49 a month. Cancel it anytime. There's no other obligation. You don't need to be a futures or options trader. It's very easy to follow. Get a hold of me if you have any questions about it. You can just email me, info@standardgrain.com. Everyone have a great week. I will talk to you same time tomorrow.